The recently fired executive director of the Yolo Food Bank is now fighting back. Tonight, Fox 40 News has learned that Michael Bish is suing the organization that he once led. Thanks for joining us for Fox 40 News at 5:30. I'm Eric Harriman.
And I'm Nikki Lorenzo. The lawsuit also targets board members of the Yolo County Food Bank itself. Fox 40's Sincere Tonsil has been digging into the situation at the food bank and joins us now with the exclusive follow-up report. Sincere.
Nikki, Eric, Bish's lawsuit claims wrongful termination, whistleblower violations, and defamation. It follows recent allegations of misconduct by board members, the dismissal of a law firm while it was investigating those board members, and changes in service to agencies that rely on the nonprofit. All the controversy causing concern for the 25,000 people Yolo Food Bank helps each month.
It's all about is increasing the amount of food that we have and coming up with more dynamic ways of reaching the communities that need those resources.
The recent word from Karen Baker, the new director of Yolo Food Bank, to a community still confused about what happened with the agency's last director, Michael Bish.
Something is seriously off the rails there.
It's now been 2.5 months since Bish, one of the organization's most lauded leaders ever, was suddenly fired in what he claims was a procedurally improper and retaliatory move.
Now I can no longer be muzzled because I'm no longer an employee of Yolo Food Bank.
One of the claims Bish made in our first report was that board members who had turned out or resigned as staff complaints against them were investigated helped vote Bish out. He claimed that a quorum was not established, meaning there were too few board members to conduct official business and make personnel decisions. It's a question we put to the outside spokesman the agency hired on this matter. Isn't it true, though, that with those people being removed, there were not enough board members to constitute a quorum to carry on board business, and then board elections were delayed?
No, that is not true. There was a sufficient number of directors under the organization's bylaws to take the action that it did.
Fox 40 News has since obtained this email. It was sent to prospective food bank board candidates who are in a Zoom election meeting in May. It apologizes to them for the abrupt end to the session and them being, quote, caught up in a situation with, quote, challenges with significant legal implications.
And so I was super surprised when we showed up for that Wednesday annual meeting and the election and we had, I want to say, 12 board candidates sitting there in the Zoom meeting, and two of the board members began shouting down my marketing and communications director as she was reading off a prepared comment and abruptly canceled the election.
Bish says some board members somehow rescinded their resignations to support the text message that a few days later served as his official firing. Though hired to speak for the board about this situation, Gene Endicott was unable to provide any insight about one of the specific points of tension between Bish and the board that Bish feels is obvious: his push to get cities throughout Yolo County and the county itself to comply with SB 1383, the new law about food recovery. Bish advocated a plan developed by a consulting firm. After 6 years of lead time, cities and counties were supposed to be in line with that edible food recovery law as of January 1st of this year. It's intended to cut greenhouse gas emissions by reducing what ends up in landfills and seeks to capture what instead might become food waste. The law works on the principle that shoppers like to see fully stocked shelves all the time. To that end, there's 30 to 40% too much food on hand at stores and thus throughout the supply line.
So every day, 30 to 40% of the excess food is being thrown away. It's typically transported to the landfill, and all of us are paying for it.
One goal of SB 1383 is to create a system, perhaps through warehousing, trucking, and distribution, that rescues more food from a trip to a landfill and instead sends it to families in need. That's something that takes buy-in, money, and planning. All things Bish claims he's received pushback on from multiple cities and the county. Without being able to tap into an extra stream of food created by SB 1383, Bish became concerned. In the face of declining food donations, demand tripling during the pandemic, and then rising another 55% just this year, Bish and his executive team warned some community partners they may not be able to do as much for as many as they had in the past, like with holiday turkey giveaways. That seemed to raise the ire of the Yolo County Board of Supervisors, according to food bank board members. Supervisors sent this letter to the food bank board, pointing out conflicts with how Bish and his team were trying to direct certain donations. It went on to say, quote, take all steps necessary to ensure that Yolo Food Bank leadership is not responsible, and if you determine otherwise, do whatever is needed to immediately end this situation.
To be clear, the Board of Supervisors does not have any bearing on the way that Yolo Food Bank is run. You get a very small percentage of your budget from them, but Yolo Food Bank is not beholden to follow any edict from the county.
They have no pull over us, no hold over us. We're not beholden to them. And so why my board, my former board, was agreeing to be their puppets is just particularly when it's undermining our mission and resulting in fewer people being fed. I mean, it's just outrageous.
That seemed to be the sentiment expressed by the food bank's former director of accounting in her resignation letter. Katie Schroeder wrote to the board on June 2nd, citing their, quote, inexplicably poor decision to fire Michael, one that she fears will, quote, cause harm to the people we work so hard to serve. From my perspective, it seems that the decision was rooted more in satisfying the egos of some or all of the board members than to ensure YFB continues to increase food security in our community. Schroeder had planned to make her resignation effective June 17th, but was dismissed immediately after submitting her letter to the board. The board's outside spokesperson refused to say whether or not disagreement over the new food disposal law or pressure from county supervisors might have been a reason for changing food bank leadership.
I'm not saying it hasn't been discussed. It's not something I'm prepared to talk about with you.
The Yolo Food Bank literally feeds many of the nonprofits around Yolo County, sending them food they then distribute on their own directly or make into meals that are given to the needy. Leaders of some of those groups say they haven't been able to count on the food bank the same way since Bish's firing. Meals on Wheels Yolo County is one of them, waiting for the start of a planned bulk food purchase arrangement that could really help them deal with prices spiking right now due to inflation. Their current director taking the helm there 7 months ago, after a career at the food bank.
Have you been given any explanation as to why that bulk food program kind of has been stalled?
We really have not. We've had some conversations recently to communicate how important it is to us to have such a program in order to extend what we're able to do to fight food insecurity amongst seniors in the community. We don't really have a date yet for when we can expect that to occur. We also were hopeful to participate in the Emergency Food Assistance Program through Yolo Food Bank, which is a federal program, and that also has not yet come to fruition as we had hoped it would at the beginning of the summer.
Since Bish was fired, the food bank has maintained there has been no change in service levels. Yolo County has sent the agency more than $750,000 this year to help with the implementation of SB 1383. At this time, it's unclear how that money is being spent. We've requested comment from the food bank and the board members named in this suit and are waiting to hear back.